Hey guys, hello humans of the universe, heroes, villains, and everything in between. I'm Lot Pokemon, and today I'm going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984. Yes, the movie's been out for like years now, it's old news, but I wanted to make this video to say how it could have been better, I guess, because I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan, and it's kind of disappointing. That's So anyways, I watched it at home because I wasn't going to get COVID on Christmas. So I saw it on HBO Max, and after I finished watching it, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, good. Okay.
It wasn't like, when you finished watching the first one and you walked out of the theaters, or I think maybe you don't, maybe, and you were like, wow.
Wow, 7 projects. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's, wow. That's all you could say, because it was, like, really good. But, anyways, my point being that I wanted to talk about how this movie could have been better within the storyline and the characters. I want to talk about the main villains and the hero plotline and the Steve line. So, in this film, we have the villain of Cheetah and Maxwell Lord. So here's a bit of history on these characters. Maxwell Lord is a huge businessman, powerful oil king. That's not really the story that he has in this movie. He's like a failed oil guy in this film. So let me first break down the story in this film. So the movie starts with Wonder Woman, like when she was really little, but whatever, next thing. She saves some lady on her wedding day. She saves the kid from some psycho. That's not as it's not as R-rated as it sounds. So then she goes home, and then she goes to work, and then she meets Barbara, and then Steve comes back to life because of a stone.
Although, I should probably go and figure out how a stone brought my boyfriend back in someone else's body.
And then Maxwell Lord gets involved with the stone because he's been looking for the stone. So then he finds the stone and he uses it to wish for him to be it. Barbara gets a stone before this and wishes to be like Diana. And then she becomes Cheetah because of a second wish, because whatever. Anywho. So, basically, the problem with this movie is that it doesn't have... Okay, so we're focused a lot on, like, Steve and Diana, right? Diana's been alone forever, and it's always coming up as a thing. So imagine if, for a second here, we focus a little bit more on... So imagine if we focus a little bit more on Diana's relationship with Barbara, Minerva, aka the Cheetah. So Steve comes back, but imagine if there was another villain in the picture, like Circe, who has magical abilities. And Maxwell Lord isn't a failed tycoon, he's a successful businessman running an oil company. And some shady stuff is going on, so Diana's investigating for some reason. Maybe she's like friends with a police officer. Then she would be able to get closer friends with Barbara, but then she'd also have like a villainy moment because Barbara would turn into the Cheetah through experiments. Maybe it would be kind of like Two-Face and Batman's relationship, how Batman always blames himself for Two-Face becoming what he is, and Two-Face blames him too. I'll play like the Batman the Animated Series clip or something. But same kind of situation with Barbara and Wonder Woman would be this kind of setup. So Maxwell would be working with Circe because she's the reason why he's a big business tycoon in this world. She gave him everything that he has in exchange for something. Maybe in exchange for catching Wonder Woman so she could find the Themyscira. So if she's not going to find Themyscira in this movie because obviously Wonder Woman's going to stop her. But if you wanted Steve to be in this movie, then you could either bring him back to life with a silly stone, or you could have Circe bring him back to life temporarily. He was in the Dungeons and Dragons movie, kind of like that stone tablet thing. She would find it so she could bring him back, but instead of it being forever, it would be like this temporary life period. Or she would have him find Diana because she figured out who she was, and she couldn't just approach her, I guess. There's probably going to be a reason for that. It's not like this is real, this is hypothetical, but my point being that she would bring him back to life to lure Diana when she figures out who she is. And it has to be more subtle because like Maxwell Lord doesn't want a huge fight or something. So instead of Steve coming back, you could also just have like no love interest, right? She doesn't need a love interest. The movie can work fine with the friendship, like the Barbara friendship that I mentioned. The friendship probably wouldn't be super long lived because she would have to turn evil eventually, right? And then we would have like Circe come in to turn her into the cheetah because Diana couldn't save her or something. Because we'll see her, like we see in the movie, the actual movie, she saves Barbara from this like robbing dude, this drunk guy who's trying to hit on her. We can have that, and then we can have like the opposite when eventually Barbara can't be saved and she is hurt and she figures out that Diana's Wonder Woman, so it's a bit of a different dynamic from Batman and Two-Face. So she goes ahead and does this, and she's unable to save her. So it's like a diverging point where Barbara goes on to be evil and Wonder Woman goes on to be good. And maybe in the final fight, Barbara like switches sides, but then she's still, you know, overall bad by the end of the movie. Like maybe she goes to jail or she dies. She'd probably die because it's in 1984, so she wouldn't be able to come back in like a future, like Justice League versus the Doom Society and the Legion of Doom. I mean, not Doom Society. For that, or like the Injustice League, she wouldn't be able to come back because it's like too far away, too much distance. I don't know. You could probably recoup it by saying when she turned into a cheetah, she just couldn't be killed. Would that be kind of a bit of a cop-out, I guess, you would say? But instead of starting the movie with this flashback to her childhood, we can just start it with like Circe. We can just start it with Circe, maybe how she became, you know, who she is, because she has an origin story. She was in a society she was kicked out of. It was something like that. Yeah, over 1,200 years. Wait, no. Okay, anyway, Circe was a princess of Colchis, but according to her own words, her subjects objected to her killing her weak husband, because apparently killing weak husbands, I mean, that's probably not a good thing. Maybe just get a divorce. That's not... Don't have to be rude to him. He's probably not weak, okay? Rude. But anyways, and then she was driven out of the kingdom. She found refuge on a small island, and began to accumulate considerable magic powers. We don't know how this happened, but it was limited to the island because the island was what I guess was giving her powers. And then she used the sirens on the island, I guess, to lure seafarers to the island. So I guess she lured like ocean people, not ocean people, like boat people. But she had a bigger lust for power, so Hecate, a goddess, would answer her prayers, desired for Circe to be in the instruments of Hecate's own revenge against the Greek gods. Yeah, that's why she wants to find Themyscira. It was something about her wanting to kill the Greek gods, but there would have to be like a different thing in the story, because this would have happened a long time ago and all the gods are dead now. Kind of a bad spot DC put themselves in, right? No more gods for literally anything at all. Mostly for like Wonder Woman stories, I guess. So she made Circe. So she made Circe a proposition: immortality, eternal beauty, and incredible magic powers in exchange for her soul. But Circe didn't really have a soul, I guess. That's not written here. I just mean like she killed her husband because he was weak. So she probably isn't that kind. Anyway, she agreed, and after the exchange, Hecate's body was destroyed. But before she died, the goddess made a prophecy upon the death of witches, at the birth of which Hecate, by name and choice, shall repossess her soul. Circe did not pay much attention to the prophecy at first, Elated by her incredible powers, she raised the kingdom of Colchis in a single day and developed to perfect the power to turn people into animals. Yeah, that's one of the things she does. Pretty important. That could be used here. That could be how she, does it the thing for Cheetah. Anyways, her name and power spread across the 7 seas. And then she was like gender alienation, stuff like that. And then when the Amazons were born, Circe was wary, but Ares assured her that they were his to destroy. But clearly that didn't happen, but I guess you could use that in this story as well, since he didn't destroy them. Anyways, the Amazons were brought down by Hercules, and Antiope led half of the Amazons against Athens, but the city was not destroyed as the and Antiope reached a peace and then were married. Okay, well, that's not in this story. Circe found Ariadne, the former wife of Theseus, and used her power to let the angry queen slip into Antiope's bedroom and murder her as she slept. This would prove one of the key events in the history of the Amazons of Banda Blue Blow. That's not important here. So she wants to kill... Yeah, that's kind of her... She wants to kill the mother. No, not the mother. She wants... Yeah, whatever. So... what this would lead to is her trying to find Wonder Woman so she can find the Amazons. There is one storyline that I remember where she pretends to be Wonder Woman's assistant or something, and in order for her not to be able to get her mind read, she kind of wipes her whole memory, knowing that like at her core she'll be evil or something. And in that storyline, she actually saves Wonder Woman's life and then realizes that she's Circe, and then she's like, crap, I almost had the chance to kill Wonder Woman, but I didn't. This stinks. I'll probably put more information. Maybe Editor Me will come back. If I don't, then you know that I kind of said all the important stuff of that arc. So anyways, Maxwell Lord origins are pretty simple. We know them pretty well. He kind of started as a villain for Wonder Woman. Not for Wonder Woman, sorry. He started as a villain for, not Wonder Woman, for DC, for the Justice League. And then eventually he became Wonder Woman's villain. He was like this young executive at like a big company. So they did like anything they could to win, like lawyers or something. And then he like had a plan to murder the high guy in power so he could be in control. So maybe that could be like how it happens. I know that he ends up not wanting to kill him, but it could be more like in this universe, he ended up hiring Circe to kill him because they ran into each other and she needed help, he needed help, so they worked together. And also he has like mind controlling abilities, or not mind controlling, he can temporarily make people do whatever he wants, but it causes his nose to bleed. That's kind of his ability, and that's kind of how they adapted it into the movie. There's one scene in the movie, right, where his nose does bleed when he's talking to the president. I'll play it here. I remember one time, I think he was a cyborg. Because I was reading the wiki before I did this video a while ago, because I was going to do it sooner. But then, like, the world reset, and then he wasn't anymore. And he was a member of the Justice League. I don't know. This is, I think, the storyline where he battled the Justice League, and then he became a Wonder Woman villain later. But you could go with the, like, tycoon, the oil tycoon. I think he also became a spy at one point for something. I think he once controlled Superman, but that's something else. I know there are some other random storylines, but those kind of don't really matter. Because I read the wiki, and it's like he was like a white lantern at one point. Apparently he has some illusion powers, but I think if we're gonna stick to him working with Circe, he can't have those abilities because there would kind of be too much of an overlap there. So he'd be kind of like a normal tycoon guy who every now and then he used his like mind control ability and his manipulation ability to use people to get whatever he wanted for a business purpose. But it would still be shown that he can actually do business and won't always use that ability unless absolutely necessary for his own gains. Sorry about my voice, it's a little shrill today apparently. Get some water. probably cut a lot of me just walking to get water. So one of the biggest faults with the first movie is that it didn't utilize its characters very well, in my opinion at least, because they seem to have something set up that they didn't fully go through with because Steve kind of got in the way. And then Maxwell Lord's character wasn't really helping that problem. So this film would have him in more of a side villain role, as Circe would be kind of the main deal. So the movie would start with Circe's origins, and then I think we would either turn to Wonder Woman heading to work, and then we would either turn to Wonder Woman heading to work or Maxwell Lord doing something. So I think Barbara shouldn't have the same job that she has in Wonder Woman 1984. So she is interested in history and like Greek mythology, and she's super smart, right? So she'd have a bunch of different degrees and things like that, and she would have like fast-tracked because she does it really well. So then like in her story arc she would be into the history and the Amazons and things like that, and that's how she would kind of get involved with this whole thing. And like Etta Candy's usually alive for a lot longer than she is, so she's like Diana's assistant. And I think Barbara's like a teacher. She taught at one point at it, and then she helped Wonder Woman in school. It was like an Indiana Jones situation. I guess. Not really. I mean, I guess it could be. But but sometimes, you know, she actually does help Wonder Woman. And that's why I feel like before she turns evil, she's helping her with something, and then after she is too. So she teaches stuff and things like that, and she's really into history. So they could bump into each other at work. Sometimes she's a teacher, sometimes she's not, so she could be working at the museum. Tomorrow we will probably finish this whole thing up, but right now I want to say just some last words. For the movie, it makes some more sense for it to be more focused on like a bigger main villain. Not that Cheetah isn't a big Wonder Woman villain, she's probably the most well-known Wonder Woman villain. I just mean that it would be a bit more solid if we had like Circe for a more aggressive reason, and then we had Barbara more friendship-wise, and then they kind of collided, and then she helped Diana at the end take down like Circe and Maxwell Lord. I'll do some more reading up, and then I'll make the second ending part of this. Okay, I'll see you guys. Future me, I suppose. Bye. Not bye, but here's me. So, Cheetah's first appearance actually wasn't Cheetah. I mean, she was Cheetah. I mean, she wasn't Barbara Minerva. Her name was Priscilla Rich. Her first appearance was in Wonder Woman number 6 in 1943. She became known as Barbara Minerva in Wonder Woman Volume 2, Number 7 in 1987. This was after Crisis on Infinite Earths. And she ends up turning into the cheetah because the plant god Urzgartaga imbued her with the power of the cheetah. Of course, in the version where it's in the movie, we're gonna have to find a way for Circe to have done this instead. And before this, she was a friend of Wonder Woman's, as we know. They do actually work together in one of the comics. Wonder Woman can't find Themyscira and she needs Cheetah's help, and in exchange, she'll help her kill the god Urzgartagub. I still can't say it right. But she'll help her kill her so she can be freed of the curse. And after this, she came back to her human form and she helped Diana find Themyscira. Pretty helpful person, I guess. So this idea, of course, mostly stems from that one time they worked together. But this time would be more based on a friendship because they were friends before she became the cheetah, instead of it being like, I'll help you free this guy if you help me do this or whatever. So the final angle being that at the start of the movie, we would either see Circe get her origins, you know, her powers in her origin story and why she doesn't like the Amazons or whatever. Then we'd probably be introduced to Maxwell Lord being a titan of the industry. I don't know if Wonder Woman would try and stop him before this point, like she'd battle him, because she has to have a battle right at the beginning of the movie. Probably just some one-off Wonder Woman villain or some random crooks. Then either Steve would come back to life via some magic of Circe's, or he just wouldn't be in the movie at all. I'm not sure which one would be better for the story. Probably just not having him, so we can focus a lot more on Barbara and Wonder Woman's friendship. Because if they grow really close as friends and then she can't save her and then she becomes evil, then it'll be like a big deal. And then she helps her at the end of the movie, but then she dies for helping her. And then she's able to defeat Circe and Maxwell Lord. So maybe she kills Circe and Maxwell goes to jail or something like that. This is kind of the idea of what I would have wanted for this movie. If you guys are interested in more detail or stuff like that, like nitty gritties and things like that, I'd probably be willing to like do some kind of script overview for something like this. I just write random scripts all the time, so this would probably be a fun one to do on this channel. If you're interested, comment it down below. Because I might actually do it. I might just do it anyway. Just write a script for Wonder Woman 1984. It might take a while, but I'll definitely give it a shot. I'll be editing this video and it should come out on Monday if I am properly doing this. If not, then maybe later in the week. But I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay cool, stay weird, see you. Oh, and if you have any other ideas, comment video ideas down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. So bye. I also think for Maxwell Lord's character, he probably should be more important than just some random tycoon dude. Like, he has his powers, right? But what I mean is his character shouldn't be like a flat villain in the story. So that's goodbye.